How long does it take to sell $1 million in Pokemon product? Welcome to the Base Set Bandits podcast. This is Matt Stagel and Matt Davidson together talking about a few different things about Pokemon, how we got into it, documenting our journey and going from zero to $1 million in Pokemon, just being a big part of the community, treating people well. This isn't the scalping show. This is the collecting and having fun while we make a little bit of money selling Pokemon. It's a big piece of what we're doing in our lives and having a lot of fun doing it. And then without further ado, I'll introduce Matt Davidson, who is my partner in crime on the Base Set Bandit podcast. And take it away, Matt.
$1 million. That's it. That's incredible. That's what we're going for. But yeah, as the Matt number one said, I'm Matt Davidson. I've been in Pokemon since the beginning. My first Pokemon card was a red, fire energy in 1999, fall 1999. And it's blossomed into quite a bit more since then. We really just decided to get back into the full-on collecting and investing and all things Pokemon, as more attention's been drawn to it over the last couple of years. But I've been in for a really long time. And it's fun to see the whole world coming full circle right now into Pokemon. But that's kind of like a quick intro to my journey here and why we're doing this podcast, why I'm here on this show. I love it and I love talking about it. And so we said, why not just push record?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think it's awesome. I think a big piece of what we're doing here is just, hey, we kind of lucked into some really cool things in the Pokemon world, and we just should probably share them. So we should say, hey, we've got a few lucky big collection buys, and just to be part of the community to show, hey, not only is there money to be made in Pokemon and what we're doing, but there's there's a lot of fun. I mean, the nostalgia is real when you're opening a pack of cards. Doesn't matter if it's Champion's Path or Base Set. It's still just fun, the gamble and the chase of Pokemon. So just a little bit of history between me and Matt. Similar for me, started back in the base set, back in the good old days. I think I was 4 when base set came out. So, but you remember going to the store, you remember opening up that pack. I just remember really significantly, there was a Dan's Foods was the grocery store by my house, and they sold it behind the counter. I remember opening all the Team Rocket, Fossil, all those packs, and just how much fun that is. But a little history into how me and Matt kind of came together to work in the Pokemon world is we both work together at a software company and have worked there for a few years. I shared that I like Pokemon and was starting to collect again a couple years back. And he's like, you should come check out my dad's collection.
Hey man, I got a big collection for you. I got one for you to see.
And usually what that means is that someone has a binder and I didn't believe him. I didn't think it was cool. I was like, yeah, sure. I'd love to come check out your dad's collection, whatever. But then we went and his dad literally since 1999, and maybe I'll let Matt tell this. Let Matt tell the history of his.
Yeah, dad. This was such a fun experience, right? Because I had this collection, that I started with my dad in 1999. And we'd grown it through the golden years of Pokemon, right? Through the 2000s as the new sets were released, all Wizards of the Coast era cards. And I knew this in my head, right? And I knew that I was talking to Matt about all of these different cards from my dad's collection. And I could just see that he didn't believe me. And so it was like, let's just set it up. Let's just go see him. Let's go take a look. They've been in a desk drawer, a binder, a few boxes for a number of years in storage, right? But the whole collection was there and I knew kind of what was there. So let's go take a look at it. And when we sat down, both of our jaws dropped. First of all, I didn't remember everything that I had. Second, Matt was shocked to see the
boxes
number of
and boxes and boxes of cards. And not just raw cards. We have sealed product. We have sealed a lot of Japanese stuff that I'd never really been introduced to before then. So we're going back. This is a couple years ago, and we're just going through all these cards. And I didn't have any appreciation for Japanese. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Where are the first editions, baby? Where are those first edition those Shadowless? But it was really cool to like kind of learn through this original experience of like going through these cards, like how much more there is to Pokemon. When at the beginning of that year, I said, hey, I want to collect a complete first edition Shadowless collection. Like that was my goal. My wife thought I was crazy. And that's when like it was a lot more attainable than it is today. Versus, I mean, right now Charizard's going for 300K plus at PSA 10. I mean, at the time of this recording, it's February 16th, 2021. It's the 25th anniversary. Logan Paul's doing his second box break. So there's a lot of heat going on in the Pokemon world. But I mean, this is back 2018, 2019, as we're going through like originally through these cards just to see what his dad has. But keep going, Matt.
Yeah. And, inevitably the question came up as we're going through this, right? Where we've opened box after box and binder after binder, and we're looking through cards. And finally, Matt brings the question that everybody has when they look at this collection, and they say, why do you have it? Where did it come from? Why do you have all this stuff? And how do you still have sealed product? How do you still have all of these cards in good condition? And the answer is very simple. And that is my father. My dad is a little bit of a collector himself, but really the only reason that this collection existed at all is because of his own personal experience. You see, my dad was big into, when he was young, he was big into sports cards. He was big into the baseball cards and pulling them out of gum packs and Cracker Jack and who knows what else. He'd go to the store and spend, $1 on a box of baseball cards. And he tells me the story now. He used to have all of the rookies. He had a Nolan Ryan rookie card that today would be worth, $250,000 in PSA 10 condition. And something happened to those cards that, changed his life and also by default changed mine. This is, he went away, from home, right? He got into college, moved away from home. And when he did so, his mom, my grandma, threw out all of his collection of sports cards, threw them away, toast, see you, gone. And when, he didn't know that this had happened, when he returned home and tried to find them later on in life, they were gone. And he asked what happened. They'd been thrown away, and he was devastated, not for the monetary gain that, could have come from that, while that would have been really cool. He was devastated, emotionally, from like this nostalgia of that was his whole childhood and growing up and seeing all these things. And I think a switch flipped in his eyes when he saw me returning home from school in 1999 at 8 years old with one Pokemon card, and it was a Fire Energy. Something flipped in his eyes, and it was like, I'm going to care. I'm going to make sure that this stuff stays around. And little did he know that, Pokemon would turn into something, the worldwide phenomenon that it is today. Because in 1999, it was a cool new thing, but it was just another fad, right? It was just another, Japanese culture that had moved over to the United States. And was it going to stay? Was it just a kid's thing? At the time, nobody knew. But my dad said, I'm gonna preserve all this stuff. I'm gonna take good care of it. I'm gonna sleeve things. I'm gonna make sure that it's still around in 20 years. It's funny because you always use the term 20 years. I'm going to make sure it's around in 20 years when you want to like look back on it. And boy, have we looked back on it. It is so cool to see, some of these old cards. And I can even remember, I remember pulling them from the packs that we bought. I remember pulling them from, I remember pulling those Japanese cards Matt was talking about from Japanese packs that we got directly from a contact in Japan, 20 years ago. This is in the earlier stages of the internet when, eBay is brand new, and we're talking with somebody in Japan over eBay, using PayPal for we're one of the first, PayPal customers ever to even figure out how to use the software back in the day. And the result of it is just thousands and thousands of cards preserved in almost pristine condition over 20 years. And when when we sat together, Matt, we looked at these cards, we were thinking, wow, this doesn't happen every day. This isn't a collection you just walk in on as somebody with a binder, right? This is a way for us to get into Pokemon for real. And it was never with the intention of, starting a podcast. It was never with the intention of becoming a part of the Pokemon community. It was kind of just like, hey, these are now worth a lot.
Well, let's even pause there. Like, I had no intentions. Like, I had zero intentions. Like, I was like, I'm gonna collect my own stuff. That's all I'm gonna do. Like, I had no, like, it wasn't there was no like, how do I get these cards? Like, how do I buy these cards? It was just like, this is incredible. Like, to see someone who had the passion, foresight to be able to say, I have all these cards and I'm going to keep them because I know not only that they're amazing, but like that they're going to be worth a lot of money someday, because I've seen what's happened. And speaking as your dad, like seen what's happened to sports cards and how much those cards are now worth. Even if he was looking at them 20 years ago, it's still the value that he's lost out on. That's kind of a piece of it. But that's a big thing for me, is like, I didn't have any intentions, didn't see anything. And so much so, like when I first met Matt's dad, he like handed me a Digimon booster box sealed, just handed it to me. Like, and then he gave me like Neo premium files. Like, if you're deep into the community, you know what those are. So a couple just like gifts just to say, hey, like, but to show you, like, he was just like, this is really cool stuff, but didn't see like the same value that like he knew what he was giving me. Handed me a gym series or gym challenge booster pack in Japanese. Like, he just gave me like 4 or 5 things that I'm just like, kid in a candy store, like, this is the coolest thing ever. Because I had no expectations to like get anything. It was just like, oh, I'm going to go look at these cards. And then it quickly morphed into something else where we were able to like, Matt's dad was like, came to us and said, hey, like, you guys need to do something with these cards, and you guys need to take this and build something with it. Whether that's a graded collection or whether it's build a business out of it. I think there's a lot that like kind of came out of just that original meeting of saying, hey, I have this giant collection. Then now what? Like, now what was the next question? Is like, what do you do now when you've seen prices spike, but nowhere near what it is right now? Like, nowhere near like 2020 and 2021 numbers. It's just like, oh, there's value here. What do we do?
Right. This is a couple of years ago, right, when we first took a look at this, and you're spot on. Like he said, I kept this stuff, for you. It wasn't for him. It wasn't for, it was for us. It was for his children. It was for me when that was what I enjoyed when I was a kid. And he's like, I kept it for you. Like, you pull something out of it, you take it, you run with it. And, we have, we, that kind of got us jump started in the Pokemon game. We got a little bit of a leg up, a head start, than maybe somebody else that was just starting from a total scratch position. But it really renewed that sense, like you said, that childhood sense of nostalgia that we had when we were younger, and it was a lot of fun. And now it was not only fun, but it was valuable, right? Now we could have fun and we could make money doing it, and enjoying this this passion that we had from our childhood. So that's kind of how this whole idea started, right? That's how Matt and I got together. That's how this podcast was created, and that's how our business got going. And that's what we really kind of want to share with the world, right? We want to become a part of this Pokemon community. We want to help other people feel that same feeling, see those cards, have access to those cards. All the while we want to continue collecting, and we have been. We've accumulated some pretty cool stuff over the last couple of years, and we probably would have been able to accumulate a lot more had the prices not just skyrocketed.
Well, that's one of the funniest pieces is like, yeah, it's great that like prices are going through the roof, but like my collection's not done yet. Like there's so much more and a lot of like, I've got expensive taste now. It wasn't expensive a couple years ago, or I mean, it always seemed expensive with some of the cards that are out there. But I think a big part of the show is just documenting the journey. I think there's kind of a little bit of a hole in the content that's out there. A lot of people are just doing like ripping ships or like opening packs, and like that's fun, and we'll probably do some of that, and it's a lot of fun. But just like kind of showing, hey, this is a viable option to like, hey, if you want to make money or even just supplement, like, how do I get like the cards I used to have? Like, what can I do to make make it so I can have that old collection again without having money out of your pocket. And that's like kind of for me, like a big piece of this. Like, I mean, I'm super entrepreneurial in that sense. Like I see the dollar shines a little bit, but a big piece of this is just the collection and seeing, hey, what can we do with this? How do we build some really cool first edition, like complete set, or how do we like build a complete jungle set? But also then how do we help other people do it? And how do we help people find those collections that are out there that they could potentially get, not for top dollar market price, but how do you get a fair price in today's world? Which is some of the things that we'll kind of dive into in later episodes. As well as like, this isn't necessarily just like for us. It's like, hey, we'd love to interview other collectors and talk to them and make sure that we can understand what they're going through, some of their favorite things. I mean, everyone has such a unique insight, and there are so many giant collectors out there that don't necessarily have a platform or don't want to like build a podcast. So I kind of give a voice to the community. And I know there are a few other really awesome people doing that, but just, hey, it's super fun. Hey, what if we get to talk to the voice of Ash Ketchum from the original show? Like just some super fun things there that I think we can really build off of in this podcast and what we can do.
Yeah. Not to mention we get to see other people's collections, right? We invite some people on the show and we get to see what they've got. And that's part of the fun, right? That's what I loved doing when I was a kid. I'd go to school with my deck of cards wrapped in a rubber band and I'd go see what my friends had. And then they would come see what I had. You know, that's kind of what we want to do here. We want to see what does everybody got. What cool parts of your collection do you have? What's your favorite stuff? I mean, everybody's got different collections that they really, really love, and or different, sets. Some people are just only base set. And while our name is definitely, Base Set Bandits, and we play on that base set terminology, we love all things vintage. I mean, we've even dabbled a little bit in the modern Pokemon cards, and it's fun to do some of those openings, but definitely our expertise lies in the vintage Wizards of the Coast era cards, right? All the way from base set through the end of the Neo series.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good thing to call out. Like, we're definitely the WotC era. And for those who aren't familiar, WotC stands for Wizards of the Coast, if you're just getting into the Pokemon world. So it's basically those first 5-6 years of Pokemon. And I mean, we specifically have gone more base set through Neo Destiny. We've played a little bit in Skyridge, a little bit of Aquapolis, base set Expedition. So there's definitely pieces there, but like very much that base to Neo Destiny is kind of where we lie. So if you're looking for cards,
that's where we're knowledgeable.
Yeah. If you're looking for cards, chances are we've got it. We love to trade, buy, sell. If you've got collections, always looking to buy, look at good stuff. So I think that's a big piece of what we're doing is, I mean, documenting, giving people access to a little bit of education. I mean, the hours and hours and hours that we've spent cataloging cards, buying collections, selling on eBay, just hopefully able to, like, for those who have a collection and want to monetize it in the best way, or, hey, how do you grade cards, and going through those process. And this isn't necessarily going to be always a long form show, anything like necessarily today. I mean, it could just be 5-minute clips, just, hey, how do you do this? And then how do you grade? What grading company is best? When would I use PSA versus BGS versus CGC? Just kind of give a few of our tidbits from what we've done here in our time selling and buying cards, but as well as, hey, how do I find new cards? Like, how do I find value? What are some good buys right now? And that's always constantly changing, which is where I think there's a lot of fun in the podcast and being able to talk about news that comes out and what we're really trying to do here.
Yeah. And then, just mixing in a couple box breaks or booster pack openings here and there, which I'm sure we'll eventually get to a point where we'll break those live, and, you can, people can purchase those. But for the time being, we just want to dive in. We want to be a part of this Pokemon community, publicly, and not just like, hey, we just sell stuff on eBay, which we have been doing for a long time, but we want to engage with people more, right? We want to hear the stories. We want to see the cards, see, get an idea of why Pokemon is such a large community, why there's an ever-growing number of content creators and people collecting new or modern and vintage, sets. And I think that's going to be fun. It's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah. And I think that's a big piece of it is like, hey, if you've got a story to tell, we want to tell it. Like, and we want to give you an opportunity to talk about your collection and what you're doing. So that's a big piece of this is like, we're not here. Like, it's just to have fun. I mean, we're not trying to like monetize this or do anything crazy. Like, it's just like, hey, let's talk about Pokemon and then share our journey. Like, our big thing is like, hey, how do we grade cards? How do we sell them? How do we collect? And a big piece of what we do is just how do we sell enough to get the things we want to collect. Like, I think that's one of the, you have to fuel the addiction somehow. And sometimes you got to sell some stuff. So that's kind of where we come from. And I think a big piece of this is just documenting the show and where we're at. Like right now we've kind of switched around with names and what we're doing. But right now we've got 4,300, and this is just for documenting where we're at. So in the future, we look back, it's like, oh my gosh, when we did that first show, this is what we were at compared to what we'll be in the future. But right now on TikTok, we've got 4,300 followers. On Instagram, we've got a little over 1,800 followers. And then with our new, we recently formed a company and made a new eBay store. We've got 35 followers on eBay and 69 positive reviews. So we've done a lot of selling outside of that, but this is just like documenting the new store that we're working with as a business, doing this all legit, paying taxes and walking through all the pitfalls of what goes in there.
Jumping through hoops, baby.
Offshore accounts, Bitcoin, how we really do all this. So I think there's a lot there. That'll be a lot of fun that for a lot of people who are really trying to get into it are wondering about how does capital gains and things like that go into the Pokemon.
We'll cover a lot of this stuff. You know, we're going to be really transparent. Well, we'll be straight up with numbers. You know, we'll say, hey, this is what we bought this for. This is what we're selling it for. When we're looking at a deal or not, you know, we might make a video on like, hey, this is the deal we're looking at, or this is the deal we just closed on. And of course, you know, showing cards. We'll show lots of cards. In fact, Matt, if you will, please show our newest addition to the team.
So right now, I've always wanted, I think, along with anyone else in Pokemon, wanted a first edition Shadowless Charizard. So we kind of had an idea we'd take some of our profits from some of our recent sales last month and compile a complete set of first edition Shadowless cards. And so we've got a few here. Let's see if these come up well. We got that Charizard. We got the PSA 5 is the highest my wife would let me go. There's only so much money you can spend on Pokemon cards. So we actually have the complete set of first edition Shadowless right here in front of me. We've got all 16 of the holos.
All 16, baby.
Which is pretty incredible. I mean, and we can even talk numbers and like the seriousness of that. Right now, the first edition Zard, they're going for about a little over 10, at least listed. Like that's what they're listed for on eBay. We got an awesome someone who got us a deal recently, and we paid $7,400 for a PSA 5, which sounds outlandish when you were looking at prices in 2013, 2010, and realize, oh, why didn't I just buy a freaking first edition Zard back then? But so we all I think have that same nostalgia of, hey, woulda, shoulda, coulda. So talking through what we're doing now and the cards that we have. So as of right now, we're trying to compile the set and see what we want to do with it. We might even just list it after the Logan Paul box break and see if we can make some money off of just having the compiled set. But that's kind of where we're at. That's some
that was stuff. You're right. That was just something we wanted to do, right? I mean, we've gone through, dozens of, you know, regular base set Charizards and, you know, base set 2 Charizards, dark Charizards from Rocket, you know, Blaine's from the gym series, but we just hadn't had that first edition Shadowless one, right? It was always so outlandish, and it was like, why don't we just use some of our profits and pick it up? And then like you said, we started thinking, well, let's just do the whole first edition set. Let's just get it out of the way before it gets any crazier.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the biggest things is we thought, oh my gosh, like if we don't buy it now, I don't know if we ever will. Like the numbers are just getting crazy. So, and that's kind of where we're showing like, yes, this is a business. Yeah, we're trying to make some money here and there, but it's not like we're taking out targets, trying to make $5 a pop. We're trying to show you how can you make real money with vintage? How do you make money buying raw, grading it and flipping it and profit margins, stuff like that. So I think that'll be a big part of the show along with interviewing and just being super transparent. I think that's one thing a lot of people who are making money don't tell you. They say, oh yeah, you can get rich doing this. And we're not trying to get rich. We're just trying to have some fun. But along the way, our ultimate goal is, hey, how can we sell $1 million worth of Pokemon, which is kind of like that intro question we had. So that's kind of where we want to come with and say, hey, how long does it take? And we're starting from this year. Hey, let's just say we're starting at 0 right now. This new
January 1.
This new eBay store. What are we doing? How long does it take to sell $1 million in Pokemon? And I don't know, Matt, how long do you think it's going to take us?
I don't think we'll accomplish this goal this year, right? I mean, is it out of the question? No, I don't think so. I think we might come close in 2021. However, I expect this will probably happen about 15 to 18 months from now, is like the $1 million mark, which is crazy to think about, right? You think about this, we're like, hey, I just worked this regular 9-to-5 job. I've been
selling, and now we're selling shiny cardboard and talking.
We're selling cardboard, and it's like, hey, we're going to sell $1 million worth. Now that doesn't mean we're going to make $1 million in profit, right? That means that that's just raw revenue from selling product. But we also have to, we're going to be using this money is going to be recycled, right? We're going to buy a card, we're going to sell the card. We're going to buy another card, we're going to grade that card, we're going to sell the card. And then this is just going to continue, and we reinvest that money back into this collection, like you said, fuel the addiction. And throughout that process, I bet you we get pretty dang close by the end of this year to 1 million.
Yeah. Well, I think, and we've even set, like, in terms of like business goals, we've set some numbers, but it really just depends. I mean, it's pretty early in the year. We've already been offered some pretty crazy collections that are recent. We've got some pretty cool consignment deals that we're working on that could be really big. So I don't know, our goal that we've kind of set, and I just want to put it out like to you guys as people listening to this, is like our goal for the year is 300,000. So like that's our set in stone. Like we've said, we're going to do this, and we'll reevaluate kind of where we're at in the near future. But that's kind of where we're starting. The goal is 300K for the year in sales. And then we'll break that down in different videos and different, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, showing how we get those numbers. And we've got some pretty cool stuff. We have so many cards being graded right now. It's stupid. A lot locked up at BGS, a lot locked up at PSA. So we'll walk through the pitfalls that we've kind of fallen into. And then a lot of people fall into with grading, and try and help you avoid a lot of the issues there, and how you can get the most bang for your buck with grading cards and selling
in the best time frame, which is a part of the equation we didn't take into consideration early on.
Yeah, especially with some of these bigger cards. I mean, we got together and with the collection, we ended up actually buying the collection from Matt's dad. We got a sweetheart deal for sure, but it was, partially Matt's collection from growing up. So we definitely get a good head start there in liquidating a lot of that. And then keeping what we want. Like, you always got to keep the best stuff. That's for us for sure. But just like a hint at some of the stuff we have. I think we've got like 25 base Charizards at PSA, complete first edition Shining. And like, this is just to be transparent. Like that million number is a lot, but like, I think that as we learn, grow, and like just get smarter, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe it's really easy to do 1 million in sales if you've got cash to buy 3 first edition booster boxes and just resell them. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty, the really in the details about how you can make some money here.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So nitty gritty details on all the business side. We'll be bringing people on the show, other collectors, investors, telling their own stories, opening packs on the channel. We'll even be, maybe it won't be just regular, old booster pack openings. It'll probably be a little bit of a themed deal and make it a little bit more interesting and fun than just a basic, hey, we're hunting for a Charizard in Darkness Ablaze, some, modern set. We'll make it a little bit more interesting than that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think this is a great place to just kind of tie things off for this first episode. Yeah, we're the Base Set Bandits. We're really looking forward to just growing together and working through this, and just really just joining the community and having a lot of fun.